Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and Ripple's getting some pretty cool recognition today. Here is a post from CNBC titled, "These are the 2020 CNBC Disruptor 50 companies." And I wasn't familiar with this particular list, but it's a list, I guess they put it out with some amount of regularity, and it cites the 50 most disruptive companies to various industries. Man, words are hard all of a sudden. From their perspective. And Ripple is on this list, so I'm going to be sharing with you what they had to say about Ripple. I've also got a question from the XRP community that was just posed, it wasn't posed to me, it was just posed publicly, and it got some attention. And basically the question is, are banks really going to use the XRP ledger, given that it's public? Because you think bank transactions, do they really want all of that visible on the network? Well, I'll share with you my opinion on all of that. And also worth noting, Ripple employee Nick Bugalis, who runs the C++ team at Ripple, he actually chimed in on this thread as well, so I will be sharing with you his comment additionally. But before we go any further here, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you know that Ripple is baller AF and you are not surprised to see them on this Disruptor 50 list, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel in a show of solidarity or some such thing. Shout out to XRP Has Wings, who tagged me along with my fellow XRP YouTuber Crypto Eddie. And he sent me this CNBC piece. Let's dive in. In the 8th annual Disruptor 50 list, CNBC identifies private companies whose breakthroughs are influencing business and market competition at an accelerated pace. This sounds just like Ripple, right? They are poised to emerge from the pandemic with tech platforms that have the power to dominate. The startups making the 2020 Disruptor list are at the epicenter of a world changing in previously unimaginable ways, turning ideas in cybersecurity, education, health IT, logistics/delivery, fintech, and agriculture into a new wave of billion-dollar businesses. Oh yes, and consider that Ripple's only been around for 8 years roughly, and the most recent valuation that was made public was $10 billion. Indeed, that's more than a little. A majority of these companies, in fact, already are billion-dollar businesses. 36 disruptors this year are unicorns that have already reached or passed the $1 billion valuation mark, with Ripple among them. Whoop, whoop. Maybe more important this year, though. 37 have hired new employees since the pandemic began, and 19 have pivoted their products or launched new ones to meet the challenges of the pandemic. Now, Brad Garlinghouse has talked about this, and they have decided that they're going to continue hiring, so they are one of those 37, assuming CNBC counted properly. And the only thing noted is that they're reducing how many employees they're going to be hiring in the calendar year of 2020. I believe the number they were shooting for was right at 575, and now they're thinking it's going to be more like 515 by the end of the year, but they actually are hiring, even if they scaled back a little bit of that ambition. Beyond that, though, so the other sentence here, are they launching or pivoting products? I don't think that as a result of the pandemic, Ripple needs to do that. I'm unaware of them making any changes. If so, tell me what they are. That would be fascinating. But the technology works, and just as it should, regardless of whether or not there's a pandemic or not. It's just about efficient movement of money, Internet of Value here. So we shall see. So if you scroll down here, out of the top 50, where did Ripple place? Number 28, a respectable 28, almost in the top half of the list, but, whatever. And understand also, this is kind of subjective anyway, so I appreciate that they're being acknowledged, but should they have been 27, 26, 20, 15, whatever. I say no to all those. It should have been number 1, damn it. So let's go ahead and jump in now to this part where they actually speak about the specifics. And at the top, it's just highlighting some of the basics, the founders being Chris Larson, Arthur Brito, and Jed McCaleb should be listed in there, but he is not for some reason, just oversight presumably. CEO Brad Garlinghouse launched in 2012, HQ San Francisco, funding $293 million, but the valuation $10 billion, and that's certainly something. Key Technologies blockchain industry money transfers, and this is the first time they've appeared on this list, as cited right, In a world where video can be streamed from the International Space Station, it's crazy to think the fastest way to move money from San Francisco to Bangkok is to bring it in a suitcase on a plane. Oh, I love that. I haven't heard Brad Garlinghouse say that in so long. I kind of miss it now. It used to be at every single public appearance. This is not some harsh critique. It's just like whether you're somebody in business trying to get a message out, you have to keep repeating it. Same if you're a politician, whatever it is. You just keep saying the same stuff over and over again. But it's just noticeable when you're somebody like me, at least, and that maybe you're along those lines too. When you're just seeking out as much content on one topic as possible, you're bound to see certain messages just over and over and over again. And that's one of them. But I'm still kind of fond of it. Brad Garlinghouse, tell me about taking suitcases of money on a plane again. I haven't heard it in a while. Ripple's goal is to change all of that, though, using blockchain. The San Francisco-based company uses a cryptocurrency called XRP to facilitate cross-border transactions for its network of financial institutions. It also utilizes an interbank messaging system that's used by banks to send money around the world. By the way, also worth noting, Ripple is the only company out of this Disruptor 50 list that is using a cryptocurrency in any capacity. The only one. So think about this. These are the adults in the room. CNBC is certainly not being toxic in highlighting a company that's utilizing XRP rather than some sort of developer building on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. This is where the real world utility is, which is why I always say, and I'm happy to continue saying it, my investment thesis is that utility matters and will win the day. And of course, I'm not offering financial advice because I don't have a financial background, just sharing an opinion here. But by using the power of blockchain, Ripple says it's modernizing the global payments infrastructure and is making the task of sending money around the world as easy, fast, and inexpensive as sending an email. It claims to have over 300 financial services customers globally and has signed partnership deals with American Express and Santander. Last June, it announced a partnership with MoneyGram, one of the world's largest money transfer companies. And the partnership uses Ripple's on-demand liquidity, or ODL, technology to enable money to be sent from one currency and instantly settled into the destination currency. And that would have been a great opportunity to cite that XRP, that's where XRP is used as the bridge currency. But regardless, still very cool stuff. This is an awesome recognition, so I had to highlight this. Into the next piece now. This comes from XRP community member, XRP Yoda, and he tagged 4 Ripple employees here. One's Brad Garlinghouse. You've also got Ashish Burla, who's an SVP at Ripple. You've got Nick Bougalis, who's the one that ultimately responded. He runs the C++ team. And then you've got David Schwartz, who was tagged as well. Of course, he's the CTO at Ripple and co-creator of the XRP Ledger. And the only one of those 4 that I saw respond was Nick. Excuse me. And then, so anyway, XRP Yoda here wrote, if the XRP ledger is public, I think banks will not use it. Reason why is that Bank A would not want Bank B to see its volume for that year or Q1 through Q4. Do you see this being a problem? Is it a concern? And to be clear, he's asking a legitimate question here. Sometimes when people see questions, it's like, oh, you are questioning Ripple, you are questioning the XRP, how dare you? Fine, some of those people can be trolls, but let me assure you, XRP Yoda, in case you're not aware from already, he is absolutely operating in good faith, and it's a fair question, okay? Somebody named Paul Blankenberg responded, doesn't the XRP ledger have public and a private settlement system? I believe it was Brad Kimes that addressed this topic in one of his videos. And of course, Brad Kimes is one of my fellow XRP YouTubers. He runs the Investment Perspectives channel on the YouTubes. And I didn't see him talk about this, but this concept of a public and a private ledger, I remember this. It was actually, some people were using this concept as FUD probably a couple years ago. It's been a long time since I've heard about this concept. It absolutely is not the case that there is a private ledger built into the XRP ledger. It's all public. Here's what Nick Bougalis had to say about this. And again, this is the Ripple employee. I'm not sure what private settlement system means here, and I don't know who Brad Kimes is. The XRP ledger is a public ledger. Any transaction performed on it is public, since all servers on the network need to independently process and verify it. So there you go. So hopefully that part of it is squashed. Now, as far as he didn't address the first part, which I think was really what Yoda was trying to get at, which is, will banks use the XRP ledger if it's public? The answer, yes. And let me explain why here. So, excuse me, the way that this is set up, of course, the XRP ledger itself is public, but as far as the part where you're talking about, well, let's make sure we understand how this actually works, how XRP is converting from one fiat currency to another, or else the rest of what I say isn't going to make sense. So even if you already know this, just sit tight with me. I'll get through this as quick as possible. But conceptually, let's just say that you want to convert your United States dollars into the Mexican peso, and you're in the United States. So you can go through a remittance company or a bank, let's just say, and then they will automatically link up. Let's say that bank purchases, and this is all automated. So XRP, it could be a remittance company, it doesn't matter. XRP is purchased on the on the public ledger, and so then the originating cryptocurrency exchange is now holding that XRP. That XRP is then moved to another cryptocurrency exchange. In this case, let's just say it's Bitso, because they're officially partnered with Ripple in Mexico. And then from there, you convert that to the local rails right there. Now, as far as the flow of money from, let's say, in this case, whether it's a bank or remittance company to the cryptocurrency exchange, that doesn't indicate what is being purchased. That part would be private. So you can see the money flow to the cryptocurrency exchange. So already there's a barrier there. But even if that were not the case, check this out. Are you guys aware of destination tags? You may have experienced this if you've moved XRP around from cryptocurrency or from crypto exchange to crypto exchange. And the reason that you have to input a destination tag, and you don't always have to when you're moving around XRP, it's only if it's going to a wallet that is essentially a shared wallet. At least that's the only use case I'm aware of. Maybe there are other instances where it is that I just don't know. But for instance, I remember back when I was using Binance before Binance.us existed. So this is, you can think back to like 2017, early 2018. I remember when I was moving all of my XRP off of Binance. There's that 20 XRP reserve, so you shouldn't be able to move it all off. But I found that I was able to move all of it off, and I was like, why is that? And I didn't immediately have an answer, and I didn't research it, but I ended up coming to find out it's because the XRP address that my XRP was in was a shared address that Binance owns, and the destination tag indicates where my portion of that address is. And so without putting it there, you could send the XRP to to that particular address, but it's no longer yours. And so then the question is, can you get the cryptocurrency exchange to work with you and figure out, okay, so here's where he actually sent it. There was no destination tag. Let's back this out and give it back to him. He's the rightful owner. Hopefully, and I've seen that happen, and cryptocurrency exchanges do that. I've seen stories like that. So it's better to just make sure you remember to send that. But so just consider this. So once it's in that shared wallet, this is an extra layer of making it hard to track who's doing what, even if you were on the inside, because I mean, maybe if you can see the actual destination tag, and that's a question, I don't know. But as far as all of the XRP being in a pool, I don't know how you differentiate it unless necessarily the destination tag is going to be listed. I can't recall exactly how that shows up on the XRP ledger, and I don't pretend to be some sort of tech guru on the tech side. I just know conceptually, is this a problem? Is it not? And this is something that I remember thinking about and seeking the answers on over 2 years ago. And the absolute ultimate answer is that no, it's not a problem. There are ways to shield here. But you can't see, because when you're talking about where money's flowing and when it flows to the cryptocurrency exchanges, and I think this is the part that matters the most, it's just those are local rails. You already can't track that. And so even if a certain amount of money flows into a cryptocurrency exchange, and then that, as a result, makes XRP be accounted for on behalf of a bank, it's just good luck tracking that. Good luck tracking that, even if you have access to a particular cryptocurrency exchange's records, because you can see the movements of XRP on the public ledger fine, but you're not going to know what the endpoints are when those parts of the local rails are already masked, and that part isn't changing. So hopefully that fundamentally messes. I don't know if that was too messy of an answer, but that's basically it. But anyway, that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!